Welcome back, folks, to the Italian Grand Prix here in Division 2. Thankfully, that disconnection happened to me during the safety car. We will take that all day long if it happens. We made 37 minutes uninterrupted that time, and if we can manage the same again for this third session, we will hopefully be able to make it to the end of the race without further trouble. Uzi's down in 15th. Why is Uzi in 15th? Please, in the chat, inform me. Has he pitted again for a new set of tyres? Did he damage the car? Why is he all the way down here? That is a big problem for me. I think only Umer can fill us in. He was in 6th place. Fahim says, what happened to Uzi? He doesn't know either. Uzi down. Right down into 15th place. Can't understand it myself. That happened while we were off. Stoffel will take us away then, as the safety car has come in and they go through Parabolica. Stoffel may well wait right until the line here, because it minimises the chance of being slipstream and passed. There he goes now, just as the car overlapped from in front. It is Stoffel from It's Midas from Chums. They head down into the first corner on lap 10, but it's a much tighter battle going on behind them. The Ferrari of Pampern pulls out of the way for everybody, as the McLaren of AP Mark leads 0-2 in 5th place. Into the next first corner, into the first corner of lap 10, and several drivers surviving that one, getting very, very close indeed. But it is Stoffel who leads this race. No pit stop on the front 4 drivers so far. Stoffel, It's Midas, Chums and Avalac. Brad and Shakes are next to each other and are battling here. These two know each other well. Brad loses out, just rubbing that front wheel against Shakes, and lost out several places. Shakes, Smertz and Royal Viking make it another AlphaTauri versus Alpine battle, and it's Royal Viking who sweeps around the outside going into Lesmo 2, manages to stay ahead here of Smertz, and will try and get within a second of the car in front, but it's Smertz who's defending now from Arno round the outside on the way to Ascari. Arno would pick up a penalty warning at least for going that deep into Ascari, but he holds on to the place. Smertz going backwards as Top Gun. This is the effect of the hard tyres, I think, as Top Gun now will chase down Smertz. Looks like AP Mark losing out to Shakes up front in the position 7 and 8. They still continue to fight. AP Mark ahead, Shakes just behind. Uzi stuck all the way down there, 5 seconds away. I think he must have suffered some damage, because it can't be that much slower, surely. The wheels interlock between AP Mark and Shakes, and AP Mark holds on. Shakes couldn't quite get the job done, and they go side by side through Curva Grande. Looking for the slipstream is Shakes. He has to tuck back in again, goes for the inside line going into Della Roggia. Very deep on the brakes. Is that too deep? No, that was Ricciardo leaning on the front axle. Beautiful braking from Shakes there on the hard tyres. Newer hards, but still hards nonetheless. Cold after the situation. Umer says Uzi disconnected, and the AI boxed for minor wing damage. Shocking for Uzi. But let's go back up to the front, as It's Midas is 3 tenths, make that now 5 tenths away from the lead of this race, with Stoffel leading us away, still on the medium tyres, and bringing themselves towards their first pit stop window, which will be somewhere in the region of lap 12 to lap 15, 16 on those mediums. You want to run much longer than that, but they've had a VSC lap, and they've had 2 or 3 full safety car laps. Looks like Uzi will be looking for another safety car from someone. The front 2 don't battle going into the first corner. Then it's side by side for several other drivers. Nick Gishin having a look at Avalac, and Avalac closing the door, and we go for another safety car. Is that a retirement from someone? Looks like Top Gun, a DNF in 13th place. The car in the pits, or at the pit lane entry, possibly. Let's go and have a look at Ruffer's car and see if we can see what happened. No, the car has been recovered by the stewards, so shouldn't be too much by way of damage or debris on the circuit from Top Gun's retirement. That's another one gone, and you fancy now the drivers at the front here who didn't pit last time will pit this time. What does Uzi do at the back of the field? He goes through. He's staying on the medium tyres for a decent second stint here. but wow, that was a very dramatic few laps, not least for Uzi. I wonder what kind of disconnection. Did he have the same disconnection I had? Did it affect more than just me as the spectator? I wonder if he did that, and then they had some damage on the front wing. Perhaps that was damage he wasn't planning to fix himself. Pamplona has been some way off the pace already, and it is Stoffel Midas. 02 decides to stay out. He's on fresher hard tyres. So Stoffel Midas chums. Nick Gishen stays out as well. So you have to reverse everything that happened in the first safety car in terms of pit stops. So we're going to continually mix everything up. What will happen though to our erstwhile leader and pole position sitter Uzi? He's miles away from the pitting drivers at the moment, down in 15th, but he will close back up again. He did seem to lose some 4 seconds on the restart, presumably still getting back into his race seat. So it hasn't worked out well for him so far in the race, but it's only lap 12 of 27, plenty of distance left to go, and we know he's got speed in the car. It's just a question of how much the race. Nick Gishen can go without making what has become somewhat of a traditional error for Nick Gishen. He is probably the next quickest out there, and in the pound seats now in second place, but with strategies all over the shop. I'm not sure he's on that much better a strategy here than the hard tyre runners of 02 in front and Shakes behind. I think they can both probably pit for softs at the end of the race. So it might not, our safety car time might not even be limited to what we've seen already. Your current standings then at the midpoint of lap 13. 02 leads from Nick Gishen, Shakes and AP Mark. Royal Viking in 5th, Arnhem in 6th, Smertz in 7th, Brad in 8th, Stoffel 9th, and it's Midas 10th with chums. Avalak has put on softs in 12th, so Hamrick in 13th, started at the back, made it up to 13th place now. Ruffer Buffalo in 14th, and then Uzi 15th from pole position. He's closing on the cars in front, but there's a big gap between Sir Hamrick and Avalak 12th and 13th that Uzi will be willing the driver to go a little bit quicker, although they are of course under the safety car instructions. Jaco says yay. I don't know, is that for Zero or for Ferrari you're cheering on there, Jaco? Let's see. So halfway point just about on our race. That looks like a pit stop. That's for Avalak, putting new medium tyres on. He might just make the end of this race, new mediums at this point, but he'll do it from 12th place. Have to restart this one in 12th place. And we'll wait for the resumption of our race. Safety car getting fairly aggressive through the Della Roggia chicane. How's everyone doing tonight? Hopefully enjoying the race as far as possible. I hope you've followed the channel and or subscribed to the channel I should say, and liked the video. Remember, you can follow me on socials at WebORed5, and the safety car will do us the honour of coming in here at the end of lap 14. 02 this time will take us away from the restart with Nick Gishen and Shakes hot behind him. Nick Gishen on the medium tyres, and we've had a problem. 02 has retired from the session. He's spun out trying to light up those tyres from the lead of the race. It's not often you see that. 02 out of the race for Ferrari. That is probably the most embarrassing thing that could happen to a driver leading a race in a Ferrari at Monza as they get going, the front two. Everyone else in shock Oh no, Nick just slows the car down again. Oh, and that's caused a huge crash. The Alpine hits the McLaren. That wipes out both Royal Viking and AP Mark into the grass. They will not thank Nick Gishen for that one. Smerch Django has got past under the restart, and his teammate tries to follow him. Gets the outside line going into Reserfilio. Looks to put the squeeze on the exit. Just leaves enough room. And Shakes and Smerch Django have the technical lead of this one. That is banging wheels, banging side pods almost, are Shakes and Nick Gishen as they barrel down into the Della Roggia chicane. Nick trying to hold on, and it looks like Shakes got the better run. He's got the outside line going into Lesmo, but the Haas held on to the inside line. Will they touch going through? Lesmo won. Nick Gishen just about shies away from another issue as AP Mark gets a 10-second penalty. I'm imagining that he's probably not very impressed with what went down there. He was hit from behind, but perhaps it was the overly slow driving from Nick Gishen on the restart. Martin possibly agrees with me. I think, if I'm reading that correctly, that was a little bit of a risky restart, but Nick Gishen back on it. He's tucked up under the rear wing as they head down the back straight here on the way out of Ascari and into Parabolica. Shakes holds onto the inside line. We've got a yellow flag for a McLaren. That is AP Mark still struggling. Nick out of the race for the front of the grid. I thought he was properly out of the race there for a moment as they dive into the pits. Full course yellow for the fourth time of asking so far tonight. Debris on the circuit. 5-second penalty for AP Mark. It will not surprise me to see a retirement coming from him. He's got every kind of penalty on the board possible, but I think we are going to get away with just the second VSC on lap 16. This is turning into a bit of a crash fest, isn't it, for everybody? Uzi being rescued slightly from the inadvertent problem he had earlier on. He's up to 9th place, still 2.8 seconds behind the car in front of Avalak, but we know he's got pace. The host has been migrated. I'm afraid if I get disconnected now, the stream is very unlikely to be restartable, unfortunately. So fingers crossed, everybody. We're waiting for the green flag to restart us. It looks like AP Mark has indeed retired. The AlphaTauri, the Italian team, on top here as Royal Viking gets a drive-through penalty for speeding on the VSC. You've got to be careful of the car in front, and they go green flag racing the front two. Smerch Django now defending from Shakes. We get another yellow flag temporarily there. It is the exiting retired vehicle of AP Mark from the pits, and they go side by side through the Parabolica. No silly games being played this time. Arnu's managed to bring himself up to 3rd place. DRS enabled, but not just yet for the drivers. They will try now. 3 wide, going down the hill, down towards the Reserfilio chicane, side by side. How about that for Arnu? Got both AlphaTauris in one straight. He was slow. Compromised line. They touch wheels, and it Shakes back on top again as Smertz manages to thread his way around Arnu, and Brad is right on this battle. They are side by side once again, heading towards the Della Roggia chicane, and they're going to play any nicer with each other as their teammates. They are slightly. Smerch Django gets ahead of Shakes. They'll be begging each other just to cooperate and get further up the road before they have another issue. But what a heavy contact, full contact race we've had so far for you here in Monza. It has been less the track causing people to trip up and more just entanglements and problems. Looks like Arno with another massive run. Surely he's spending ERS on this restart lap, and Uzi's left